Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to another episode of City Skylines Mass Transit. And as you can see, I am starting now to branch out into the next block, or the next area, over the other side of our freeway connection here. So, I kind of went through the city. It's paused right now, but I kind of went through and I tweaked it as much as I could, just dropping in those little extra bits, as you saw, to try and get as much high density in here as possible. Kind of rezoned a couple of little blocks, individual tiny little blocks, to switch things around and try and cram as many people in here. We still haven't quite hit 36,000 yet, but we're really, really close, which is why we're paused right now. And I did go ahead and just rezone this road in. This was all low density before, and I just rezoned it into high density residential up to this junction here, where we go off into a naff forest. Also, speaking of the forest, you'll see they grew back. My trees did actually grow back. I'm so relieved by that. So what I've done in the meantime is I've come down here and it's stopped at the bottom of these ramps, and all I've done is I've just extended them out a little bit, created this roundabout here, and this is going to carry on and go off that way, and it's also going to come off this way with another dual carriageway, two sets of roads going off this way, and it's going to kind of create a ring that runs around this area as we move through this area. And over here I'm just creating a little business park. So because we're going to start shifting our zoning down, hopefully pretty soon, into low density in this area, it's going to mean way too much commercial and way too much industry, too much office zoning in there. So to compensate for a huge overpopulation, a lack of population and too many jobs, a lot of the current office and commercial in here will be rezoned into residential, and we'll have, like we have had in the past, small pockets here and there, but it'll be scattered around. And I'm creating a sort of a business centre just over here. So, excuse me. So what I've done is, coming off the roundabout here, we've got this single road feeding in here into a little one-way area. So the road comes around here, around this sort of statue of wealth that we've got placed just here, and then I've got a footpath running between the two with some trees and bushes lining it either side, and then I've dropped in a TV studio just here. This is from the Art Deco pack update that we got a little while back. So that's the TV studio going in there, and then all of this just runs out here. Got our services over here, so some health, some fire, some police, a taxi rank, another station, and then continues in the one way, feed around this kind of central little loop in the middle here, and then you can come down this way, and again it's one way feeding back to the exit of our little area over here. So we've got this little business park over here, and this is where we're going to start zoning in a lot of offices. Now I've already gone ahead, as you can see, this is how close we are. We just need 136 people and we'll get 36,000 and unlock a new tile. But I've gone ahead and I've completed the bridge. So we had this low-rise bridge. I actually slightly reworked the railway to straighten it up a little bit. So we lost a little bit of space along the back of these buildings here, and a little bit of space around the back of these offices, as I just straightened this railway line out a little bit and reworked these joins here for the passing loop. And then it comes over the bridge here at a slightly different angle than before, so it's straighter, it's more square, goes over the freeway and immediately goes on that slow gradual decline down, and then runs along to our station here for the business park, and then a gradual climb up the hill as the rail line will continue there on towards our expansion in this area, and eventually to a big rail hub where we'll have multiple lines all feeding in to a big 6-lane railway station. And obviously you can see we've got this connection here. This is obviously going to get reworked a little bit, so we'll have a line. Well, when we move that tile up, we'll be able to take that line out a bit further, and then it'll come across the top as a freight line to go into our cargo area over there, and then we'll have lines coming down this way as cargo lines. We'll have passenger lines coming out this way. We'll have a kind of a hub, hopefully somewhere around here in this kind of middle zone. That's roughly the plan, and we'll even have a rail line that connects going over the water as well, so we can link up with that rail connection there at some point as well. So we are starting to expand into a new area, so exciting times coming up ahead. And in terms of zoning, you can see I've gone ahead and zoned in office blocks around here. This may get reworked a little bit, so I might actually take that out and put some commercial in there as well. Not sure yet. But you can see we've got this big block of industrial office zoning around here, and then a little bit of commercial just to break things up a little bit. And I might eventually come and switch these out for more businesses, more offices. We'll see how that goes. But I'm ready to see this area come to life. I've got a little power line put in place to link the two zones together, so as soon as something starts spawning in these sort of areas here, it should connect, or create a power link between the two zones over the freeway there, and then it'll start to zone in and power in all of this area over here, which will eventually collect to the station and these buildings over here. So it'll all link up really nicely, but I wanted to have a nice little sort of touristy happiness boosting area in the middle there to help boost the buildings. So let's press play, and hopefully while this is starting to zone in, we should get our population to just pop over 36,000 and give us that extra tile unlock. That's kind of the hope at the moment. So you can see all of these buildings starting to zone in. They won't have power yet. There's still nothing over here. I suppose if I wanted to play it safe, I could have just zoned in this block first. But we'll let the whole thing start to zone up, because there's a big demand for offices at the moment. And I've already routed the train as well, so I basically to make it easier, an easier way to rework the train was to just come along to this station, grab that stop that we had there, drag it all the way over here into this station to extend the line and move the stop from the first station to the second station here, and then go back to the second station and then just click the line to add in stops on either side of the line. And of course they were rerouted onto this passing loop on the bottom here, so I had to manually drag each line up onto the station itself. Oh, look at that, so close. 35,927. Still need just a few more, and look at the demand for offices now. It's kind of fallen away quite dramatically, but it is still there. We are so close to getting that 36,000 milestone. "20 people, 7 people, 1 person, come on." Ah, keeps doing this. There we go, 36,000. What? It didn't... There we go. There's the trigger. I was panicking for a second there. We have 36,000, so we've unlocked, most crucially, that new tile. But on top of that, we've also unlocked the ship, which now means we can bring in regular harbours and cargo harbours. So as this area continues to zone, we've pretty much killed the office desire at the moment. I might extend this power line actually. Let's just drag that along to there. Let's get some power in that block before these businesses and offices start to disappear. And that immediately should trigger a little bit more growth as well, now that these offices are not being abandoned. What I do want to do, I can see the commercial vans coming in. What I do want to do is I just want to upgrade these road types a little bit. So let's go with some tree-lined roads around our central block here. Oops. Oh, upgrade, not change direction. There we go. So our little sort of central passing, almost like a square roundabout kind of thing. We'll put tree-lined roads around there, and then we'll just have grass-lined roads. Oops, this is the wrong thing. Need to be one-way roads. There we go. And then same over here. And this is just so we don't get that ugly look of cars parking everywhere. And we'll bring a bus line out here as well, probably at some point, but for now we don't really need one. So there we go. That'll just tidy up the roads a little bit. Let's just do these corner pieces. We need to keep these corner pieces two-way for obvious reasons. Otherwise something will go in and won't be able to get back out again. But yeah, there we go. That's all zoning in quite nicely. And let's take a look at our areas. So, we have a choice. This tile or this tile. And you know what? I'm really not sure which way to go on this. Yeah, I've never watched the lights coming on like this when I've been zoomed all the way out like this before. That was kind of cool to see that. Very funky. I think we might take this tile here on the very edge on the right hand side so we can at least get to the coast. Yeah, let's take that tile there, I think. There we go. So now we have 3 tiles left, so it'll be the 2 above these 2 here on the end, so that'll take us to 8, and then the 9th one might possibly be to the right of where we are here, so across one more. I don't know. It might be on the other side, perhaps. We'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out once we've got the other 2 tiles in play. Let's just see. We're getting people using the train. Yes, we are. That's excellent stuff. We're still losing money, but I'm not bothered about that at all. At the moment, we've got plenty of money, and it's because I've deliberately set my taxes low to promote growth. So those will change in time. Let's just take a look at our info views. Let's check our land value. Well, land value isn't great as expected, but it's not bad. It's kind of average. And what am I looking for? Not traffic. Happiness. Yeah, everyone's pretty happy. He says immediately with a couple of unhappy people, but those buildings are upgrading, so it kind of resets their happiness when they upgrade. You can see there they're going through some growth changes a little bit, and they should start to gain a happiness rating soon. So they get a red rating, and then they start to cheer up a bit as soon as they've finished their upgrade. So you can see there they're flashing as they change. But that's good to see. Office happiness 97% overall. Commercial not so much. It's probably because of the traffic problems that we have. Where is the main? Oh, I'm gonna have to empty the cemetery there. There we go. Anything else that needs my attention while I'm up in the sky? No. Everything else is looking pretty good. So we're going to need to kind of zone this with a district marking now so that we can make sure that the right policies are applied. So let's paint a district tool. I like to go with small to paint the borders of the district first of all, and I like to use the roads to kind of square up against the info bar underneath, so that I can draw relatively straight lines along the edge of my along the edge of the district, and then paint everything in the middle. sometimes zooming in makes it a bit easier because those little movements you make to correct things aren't quite so severe. There we go, that's about right. So let's start here. Oops, wrong button. And we go straight across like that, and zone that into there, and then we come straight down and straight across. Straight up. Straight across, straight down, and it just gives us a nice, neat border for our little zone there for Vermont Square, and then we just get inside and just extend that in and just start to draw that in like that. And there we go, a really nice, neat zone like that. Obviously it's a little bit harder over here, as you can see, but we can square that line up a little bit like that. There we go. So it's a case of me rotating the camera around and drawing in those zones. We don't actually have any zones up here, do we? Oh, we have a slurry issue, a waste disposal issue. We're going to need another sewage plant. Now, one of the other things I am going to do as well is I am going to start looking to build a proper sewage treatment facility. Squeeze that one in just there for now. And we'll also probably look at building a proper water facility as well. So we're going to have, and it's probably going to be somewhere a bit further down here as we, unlock these extra tiles over here. But what I'm thinking is that we create a channel sort of running in here, and then we have like a reservoir, a squared off reservoir with quayside. So like we've done here, we put quayside in to mount these pumps on. We'll do the same. We'll create a reservoir somewhere around here, maybe somewhere in this area, so that it's kind of close, or maybe even on the coast. Perhaps we could look at, I mean, we haven't got a lot of coastal space, and if we're going to do cargo harbours and stuff, then we'll have to see how that goes. But the plan is to kind of create something that will then feed out into the sea, so that wherever we need to along the river, we can kind of gather water into our city, either be it pumps up here or pumps down here or pumps on the other side for that area over there, and we'll always have clean water coming in, because the wastewater will be here being ejected out into sea. So let's do a little quick bit of terraforming for a second. We've got plenty of soil availability, I believe. Yes, we do. So we can, and when I say plenty of availability, I mean plenty of space to collect soil. So let's drop a marker just there. Might be a bit deep. Let's increase the tool and increase the strength of the tool. And let's take the coast in. And you'll see the water will start to swarm in here. But we can actually create a much healthier, for us anyway, a much healthier kind of coastline, so we can really kind of square this off. So for example, I can basically just run along here like that and square that right off. Like that. There we go. The water's going to go crazy for a moment as it tries to react to everything that we're doing. But that'll give us, a really, kind of cool little kind of setting around here, and then we can just square that off on the edge there like that a little bit. So we can create this artificial quayside along here where we can put the cargo, the freight hubs for for cargo and for rail and all that kind of good stuff. And we don't have to have this sort of gradual sloping terrain down to this kind of watery bit here. We can create you know, quite a solid cliff base. We can lower it down a bit as well if we need to. We can do whatever we need to do, basically. So that is a bit high. Let's, for example, let's set the height there. And this is why I wanted to check I had that good soil availability. So I can now kind of just take a layer off here like this. Just drag that out to there. And you can see how this gives us the opportunity to actually go in with these terraforming tools and create a solid kind of key line. So if I want to try, is it in landscaping? Water channels, here we go. So for example, if I wanted to, let's see if I set it, say here, and I drew that there, like that. Of course, we would we would lose the light the second I do that. We'll come back and check on that in a moment when the sun comes back up. But yeah, you'll see the kind of thing we can do, and we can drop cargo hubs in there for you know, for ships and for rail and all sorts. Train coming in, is that going? Waiting, it's waiting on the same platform, isn't it? There we go. So that's an external train, the red one there. Oh, a load of people getting off on the across the two different trains. Oh, that's something else I need to do as well. Let me pause this for a second. Let me find our green train. There it is. I need to go back in and tweak the service again. So you can see it's currently set at 50%. Now, because I've added in an extra station and an extra stop, it's gone back up to 2 trains. It was initially 1. But at 100% it was originally 2 trains, and I dropped it to 50 to get it to 1 train. Now 100% is 3 trains, because again we've extended the line, we've made it a bit longer, we've added in an additional stop, and because of that, you know, it automatically just naturally increases the number of trains in the service because it's a longer route. We're going to go to 4 trains, I think. That might be a bit too much, but we'll see. So we should start to see new trains spawning on the line. Hopefully they'll start to space themselves out a bit. I mean, it may well be again that we perhaps need to drop it down to 3 trains. Maybe we've gone a little bit too much. There's one over there. One in that station. That's going that way. And there's 2 there. And there's the other one coming from the first station over there. So actually, you know, we're kind of getting them kind of meeting like that. That's not too bad, you know, distance wise. They're very, very regular trains. You can see the station now getting very busy at the bus stop, and we're getting a decent number of people moving around on these trains as well, so that'll hopefully help cut down on traffic a little bit as well. Now we've got a death over here. I don't have any funeral services on this side of the freeway yet, so they're having to come from over here, down the roundabout, over the junction here, all the way down and in that way. And this area will probably expand up into this space here as well as the park needs to grow. We'll see. I might have another road coming off here into this section here, and then just kind of link the 2 areas up. But yeah, the main plan is that that's going to be like a side park that's going to you know, sit on this side here, and there's going to be just, you know, the station is the main service route to bring people in and out apart from the road, and then we might have a bus that kind of runs around in this area, including down into this block here, and then we can have a bus that maybe goes from this whole area over to, you know, somewhere over here. We'll see how it all shakes out, and then this, as I say, is going to be a ring road that's going to kind of curve around and go around the edge of our city around this way, and on the other junction, which hasn't been modelled in just yet, here on this side here, the road will come off this way, and we'll probably come to a split somewhere over here, so we can send stuff off this way, and then continue going around kind of on the outside over here. We've still got this part of the freeway here, this entire freeway that we haven't touched yet. I spent all that time building this junction, and we haven't done anything with the freeway since. But it's a question of being patient and getting there, because the next 2 tiles are on this side of the river, so we'll be able to start developing over here as well, and we can have a couple of bridges going across linking areas. It's a bit tricky over here at the moment. It will need to be reworked a little bit, and we'll wait till we've established a new kind of population area on this side first of all. Started getting some extra people in. What is our next milestone? So our next milestone is 50,000. That'll give us another link. Sorry, another tile, and then we'll get the cargo hub, and then the next one after that will be 75. That brings out the standard airport and the 8th tile, and then 90 will give us the final tile, which we don't really need at this stage, and monuments, and the international airport. So these are the 2 that we're working towards. So 50,000 next, and then eventually 75, and then beyond that 90 will be a bonus, but we'll be working to get to 75 to get those 8 tiles in place. So now the sun's up, let's go back over here to the coast, and you can see dropping in that quayside gives us that nice straight solid edge, and what it also does is it reworks the terrain a little bit so it sits flush. Now it's not square, as you can see, it's at an angle, but that's because that's the angle that we drew. But we can come back here and we can now kind of either try and draw a rough one, or we can go into freeform and we can try and curve it around like this, and then draw it straight here, for example. You need to have a shoreline, so there are some limitations to where you can place this. So you do have to do some terraforming to get it exactly where you want it. And then if we wanted to sort of bring it round and kind of square it off a little bit. Got a little bit too much shoreline here, as you can see. So what we'd need to do is go back into our terraforming. That's our level terrain. Is the level still set? It is. So just increase that up a little bit. And then if I set the level in there and just eke that away a little bit, like that. And then if we go back to our key tools, connect that up here. Back to freeform again. Now it's saying height too high, so what we've done is we've got too much of a gap on the ground level. We need to soften that terrain a little bit, create a little bit of a slope, because the key will only go down so far, and if we go down too far then it won't let us build, because there's no ground for it to build a foundation on, because it's too deep. So we need to soften this terrain a little bit here, like that, so that it just stretches this this ground out a bit like this, as you can see. And now we should be able to build, because we now have a foundation for our key. And this is by no means the finished article. This is not necessarily how it's going to actually remain, but this is just to give you an idea of what we could do. And then we'll probably leave it as it is for now and then come in and tweak it. So you could have a curved key if you wanted to, as you can see just there, or we could run a straight key. It's entirely up to us. But if we just curve that to, say, there, like that, that's just to show you what we can and can't do. And then where we do have a little bit of ground, kind of, you can see it changes height a little bit, because it'll raise and lower to the height of the ground that it's built on. So you can see it gets much lower over here. It kind of goes with the terrain a little bit. This is too high, really, for me personally, but this is about the right kind of height. So it gives you, levels that you can play about with, and you don't have to have just a dead straight key like we did over here, where that's a dead straight line. You can freeform it. You are kind of restricted a little bit by the terrain as to how you place it. So you have to really play about with terraforming and dropping in a custom quayside with buildings. You know, that's good for putting buildings and stuff on. It takes a bit of practice. So that's a massive area now, that in this area here, this tile that we didn't have a moment ago, because the shoreline came across sort of like that and kind of split that, and we've basically just taken that area and doubled it, basically, or the amount of water in that area. We've doubled it, and that's important, because we go to the new ship tab. There is the yellow line, and you can see, you know, if I were to place, it's a bit high here in certain places, it won't build on a curve obviously, but here I could build a harbour just here like that, for example, and we can now connect to the external ship line. So that means with a standard harbour we can bring in passengers for ferries, you know, like external ferries rather than internal channel ferries. We can actually bring in the big heavy duty passenger liners, can come in and bring new people into our city and take people out as well. So we'll get hopefully a boost of tourists coming in. And then, although we don't have this unlocked yet, I don't think, or do we? Yes, we do. Sorry, we have this one unlocked. This is the cargo hub. So this is what will enable us to ship freight to and from. And what we should see, we are running, aren't we? We should hopefully see some ships moving around. Don't see any at the moment, but the ships will tell you. Might tell me in transport routes, actually, perhaps. Normally there's a kind of a direction, so you can see which way ships go in and which way go out on the shipping lane, because it flows in just one direction. For some reason it doesn't want to do it this time. Not sure why. Maybe because there's no ships actually on the route at the moment. But you will see ships passing along in the distance from time to time. So that's always useful. And the cargo hub that we're waiting to unlock at 50,000 is the rail cargo hub for a dockside, so that we can get, you know, cargo coming in by ship, landing at the rail cargo hub, and then there's a track built into it which we can then link off and connect directly up to our rail network, and that will then go and ship that off directly, whereas the rest obviously goes by road. I thought that was a ship in the distance there with some stars. Stars kind of falling through the sea in the distance there. Very weird. So, now that we have this little square over here, you can see our population isn't really doing anything. It's kind of hovering around the 35 to 36,000 mark still, because we still don't have any additional space over here. So what we need to do is start to zone and plot a route for our roads, and then start building a residential area coming off there. So what I'm going to do is just build a single road coming off here, just to kind of plot out the route that I want this road to take. And then once it's done, what I'll do is do what I've done here, and I'll put, you know, twin lanes in with the traffic. Doesn't matter that they're both facing the wrong way at the moment, because there's nowhere for either of those to go anyway, so it just stops traffic from turning in there completely. But I want this to run straight for a bit, to about there, so that I have a basis for my roads to link up. Let's take that out. In fact, actually, I can do it this way. Now I've got my spacing right. So that's the centre line. So I want these roads to have a 1 square gap between them. So I need my roads to start here. And then there. There we go. They are slightly slightly offline by the look of it, slightly off center. It's because, and I know why it is, it's because I squared up the wrong way. So let me try this again. So there is that, so I want this line to start. This is tricky. Let me create a block just here. There we go. Alright, so I want this line to get up close to this. I'm going to drag across here. Let's take that out. So there's my guideline. So try and find the plotted line. It's awkward like this. Come on. There we go. So that's kind of the spacing that I need. You can kind of see those 3 dots at the top there as to where the spacing should be. So I think based on this grid line here, I need my roads to be there. And that's 2. That's still a little bit too much. We can get away with 1 like that, I think. And then what I'll do from here, I need to have a gap of about 1. And that is a gap of about 1. That's good. So let's go to freeform. And what I also want to do is I want to put in a protection piece in the middle, just to stop the roundabout from deforming, as it is likely to do. This roundabout here, as you can see, is 14 units in length. So it's a full block and then an extra 4 small blocks. That's the diameter. So slightly large roundabout, and we may possibly end up taking that a little bit bigger as well, but it's big enough for now. So I just want this to be as shallow as possible. Like that. That's about it, I think. There we go. Let's take the cross piece out. And there we go. We have our actually, I'll do the same over here. Just link that up like that. There we go. Change direction. No, that one. And let's upgrade to freeway. 2-lane freeway. Let's change direction. Upgrade. There we go. Now we'll go to change direction. And flip those. And there we go. We have our beginnings of our ring road that'll split off and kind of run off in different directions. So this needs to come out this way over here. I'll probably have a roundabout connection of some kind over here, so that I can then split off and create a little residential district of some kind over here, perhaps. Maybe a small mixture of residential and commercial. Like I said, I want this to feel like it's all one big sprawling city rather than lots of little districts that have kind of been squashed together. So that's why I really did try and squeeze everything up and really push up against the roads to give us that kind of sprawling feel. And then where we do get these big gaps, we can try and rework things a little bit to maybe put some buildings in there or plonk some trees in, something just to fill those gaps so it doesn't look like lots of weird, separate disjointed small districts kind of just shoved together. I want it to feel like it's all one big sprawling kind of metropolis. That's what I'm aiming for. Whether that's going to work or not, it's anybody's guess. But we'll see. Let's go freeform. Let's bring this road. Let's see, where are we? Let's bring this road around here. to there. And I've deliberately flipped that the other way round, so I know that's my end point. And I want to go back to freeform. I want this to curve around, and hopefully it should snap there and keep that nice equal spacing all the way around there. That's good, so the roads stay in formation. That's the other great thing about the new road tool, is the fact that it does that. It allows you to really easily plot freeform lines like this and then run the other road parallel to it and keep the spacing all the way around like that. I love that. So nice, because before we didn't have that snap tool, or these little nodules that we could then get the plot lines off like this. We didn't have that before, so I would manually have to put in little connecting roads, at various different stages along the corner of one line, and then build the other road around to each sort of intersecting cross line or crossroad to link them and keep them at the same spacing. And I had to do that all the way round a corner if it was a big corner that was just kind of freeform and sweeping like this, to make sure that I kept the same spacing, the same distance. I don't need to do that anymore, and I am so grateful because it was a pain in the ass. Okay, let's put our little roundabout in. Oh, sorry, a little block piece there, and we are going to build a roundabout now. So let's go to straight, and you can see here, this is kind of where the roundabout needs to start. So how big a roundabout do I want? That is the question. It needs to be a decent-ish kind of size. It's going to handle quite a bit of traffic. I think we'll go with, as we've done before, a 14 block roundabout like that. So that'll be 7 on each side. No, 6 on each side like that. 6 of these little grids, these little squares like that. And then we'll build the curve. There we go, and same again here. We're going to link this as tight to that central piece as we possibly can. So that these kind of junctions here don't get too close to each other. That's kind of the hope anyway. And then this will probably peel off. I suppose I could bring it off this side. So you go straight over the roundabout, and then you have a turn off here to go into some zoning over here, and a turn off here to go into some zoning over here. But for now, what we're going to do is we're just going to do this side here. So let's just put in a single road. Let's make it a dual carriageway road. We'll bring this down to here, like so. And now we're just going to basically build a little residential area in here. So I'm going to create a straight kind of road for us to work with, like that. And we'll have kind of a block that runs through the centre. This is where it's going to get tricky. I'm going to go to straight for a second, because we're going to get multiple diverging plot lines like this. You can see it makes it very difficult to choose what to snap onto. So I'm going to make this a block that size. There we go. And this is going to be one way, but it'll be smaller than this. I just wanted to do that so I could get in that piece there and get that spaced appropriately. Let's take this off for a second. I'm going to make this one way so the traffic will feed in here, feed around here, this way, this way, this way, and this way, and then back out again. And then we'll have lots of little side streets and stuff coming off here, and we'll have a little park here. This might be a commercial park, actually. It's a good size. And then we can have residential in kind of this bit here between the two roundabouts. That works. Again, this is mainly going to be low density stuff. It's not going to be high density. This might be a high density commercial park, but you know, the residential in this area is going to be low density, and then as we progress further down into the city, into this kind of built up, this is going to be the heart of our city, this kind of area around here, and this is where all the high density is going to be, and then everything else is going to stay kind of low density. That's what I'm aiming for. We may have to adjust that as we go. So let's just bring off some roads here, and we're a little limited for space, so we'll try and keep it nice and neat and organised, because this is a commercial zone after all. There we go. Don't want to get too close to the road there. And then, let's see, can I bring this along a bit more? There we go. We'll have a side piece coming down there. Let's take that piece out like that, and let's build a line across there. And there we go. We've got a nice little commercial hub there. And then we've got space over here for maybe some emergency services. And again, look, you can see it won't let me snap onto the line I want because there are too many intersecting lines. I think actually I've got it there. I think that's it. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. No, that's too big. It gets really tricky trying to tell where I need to be, and that's too far. So I'm going to go past, deliberately go past like that, so I can then find where it needs to be, which is there. Plot out what I need, and then I can take that off. I'll take that off as well. There we go. So a nice little hub around here. Let's take this up as well and go across one and come back down. I like that. A nice little shopping park over here. You can see our population's dropped to 34,500, so we've lost, you know, nearly, well, we've lost 1,500 people from our city while we've been kind of messing around, you know, in the last half an hour or so. Let's drop in some water. Let's keep it nice and straightforward, nice and simple. So, yeah, that'll give me the coverage I need. Let's take that to there. Just bring it down a little bit more. There we go. And then from here, I'm going to run across to there and across this way. That's the feed-in road, isn't it? I'm not too bothered about the feed-in road. Let's go like that. We'll go across. And then in this space here, just a quick squirt up the middle like that. There we go. And now I need to connect that to our existing water network. Just go straight across like that. There we go. Let's again drop in the important services that are going to need to be here. So a police and fire, and probably a medical as well. These we can kind of squeeze up here, which is why I zoned this little extension over here. It also gives me space to drop in a park up here as well. In fact, let me reposition this there, and then hopefully I can squeeze the medical on the edge. Perfect. Look at that. Fantastic. They all fit. Let's put in a park of some description, or a plaza, something. in this space here. Like that. Opposite our services. Excellent. That'll help boost the happiness in this area. We need to make sure we have a power connection. This could be a bit trickier with the pylons. Let's take a pylon from here. And we'll run it straight across like this if we can. There we go. And then run it down into that zone there. Excellent stuff. So now we have power in this area, and now we can go ahead and start zoning in some high density commercial. And again, this is so we can then start reallocating some of the high density stuff that we have in here, because this is all going to drop back to low density. So we're going to end up with a massive overabundance of commercial as well as office when we start doing this, because all the residential is going to get downgraded. We're going to have a sudden drop off in the number of people that we have in our city. So to compensate and to combat that, that's why we're creating this kind of new little block zone like this. I'll probably throw some offices in here as well. And you know what? I'm going to take that block out. Because I kind of like the idea of having a theme area in the middle. Like a welcome to the zone kind of thing. And you've got this nice big, open park area of some kind over here. So we'll leave that like that for now. I definitely want to make sure that these are blocked in. Like that. There we go. We just need to let some more of this stuff spawn in. So hopefully that shouldn't take too much longer. And then once that's done, it'll create the power network and link all of these buildings together. Let me quickly check parks and stuff. I'm not going to get a large park in here, but small park should fit. Ah, perfect. Look at that. Beautiful. Right in the middle there, you come down, you've got this big park area. I like that, because we're going to have people walking around in this zone, and it needs to help boost these buildings in terms of the happiness in this region as well. So that should work, hopefully, really, really well. Let's quickly upgrade the roads. Start putting in the one-way stuff. We'll change all the directions in a moment. So it doesn't really matter which way they're pointing, just for this short moment here. There we go. Oh, didn't go at the top, did I? There we go. So let's go in and start changing directions. So traffic's going to come in on the left-hand side. It's going to come off this way. So that needs to change like that. There we go. So both arrows are now pointing this way. Traffic's going to split. Wants to go down or across and up this way. This is all fine. That's fine. That needs to change. And so is that. I'm going to flip that piece like that, I think. No, we'll leave it like that. There we go. That comes down, that's fine. Flip this around here. Flip that. And that's all good. There we go. Traffic should flow beautifully around there. Why is that the wrong way around? Ah, there we go. That's the reason why. So I need to change the direction on this road, otherwise nothing can get out of the park once it gets there, because it's all it's all one way. There we go. I need to upgrade this roundabout, so I need to take these spurs out temporarily to make the upgrades. And this actually needs to be There we go. Like so. And the roundabout will probably, because of its size, end up getting upgraded to 3-lane freeway, but for now it's going to be 2-lane freeway. That's all it needs to be. And there we go. We have a blossoming little commercial park over here as well, so somewhere else for us to zone. So there we go. So very quickly then, before we go, because I almost forgot to do it, we need to add in subscriber names for this episode as well. So Bloody Monkey 39 wanted a roundabout named after him, and he preferred a commercial one. Well, we just built a commercial district here, so we now have Monkey Island. There we go. That is your commercial roundabout that you asked for. And for my friend Marcel, who has been so generous with some donations to the channel recently, you have our business park here. You have, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Yatta Square. And obviously this will expand as we come down into this section as well. So this little district will get a little bit bigger, but there you go, Marcel, you have your district. And finally, Jack Watchorn has asked for me to rename a citizen Fat Timmy. I don't know why, because we will never ever see that citizen ever again, but it's what you wanted. So we have Dexter Roberts here. Dexter Roberts is now going to be known. If we ever see this guy again, I'll be amazed. But there we go. We now have a citizen called Fat Timmy. He is a young adult, so he will be around and alive inside our city for a little while longer yet. But congratulations, Jack. Your request has been processed, and we now have Fat Timmy in our city. So, well, there we go. That's it for the end of another episode. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you come back to see us continue to expand on this side of the freeway. But that's it from me. I am Jim Bob, and I will see you all again very soon.